Oh shoot, the stream died. I think.
The
Are
stream
we
did
back? I think we're back. All right, yeah, we're back.
We're back.
We're back. Sorry about that. Love that. Love the night one jitters of OBS going out on us, but you know what? Out of our control. Stream must go on. Game 2 coming up. Akron did hold off the win.
Yeah, ultimately 9 shots for Akron. Jonathan tallying the only one away. Indiana did have some looks. MST 4 shots for his own. Wasn't able to find his way through. Ultimately, Akron just kind of holding down everything Indiana threw at them. We need to see the Hoosiers maybe shake it up a little.
I mean, you look at a game 1, it's 1-0. I wouldn't think too much of it, but again, it's 1 goal too many when you're playing a team such as Akron. You want to limit them to ideally 1 goal a game or 0, because again, you're not going to score very many goals in this defense.
Yeah, they're not going to come too frequently. You need to take every single option. I think this is one of those teams that you're going to have to play risky if you want to beat. You cannot play too safe, play for those safe plays, try and force an overcommit, because there's just not going to happen, as Coda will take this one away nicely off the post, but the Zips keep on pressing. It will eventually be cleared away again.
Game 2 opens up. Akron in 0-0. Akron did steal game 1, though, with a 1-0 finisher from Jonathan at the 4-minute mark of regulation. But again, Jordis, it's game 2 now. Indiana a chance to tie us at 1.
Yeah, they very much want to get the scoring started early. It's never easy to get shut out in a full 5-minute game, as it can always be a bit demoralizing just trying to put on shots. Of course, you have 5 as a team, not able to tally anything. And did we lose you?
I just got kicked out.
Oh no.
That's crazy.
Well, good news is nothing has happened just yet, and a good challenge from MSC back the other way, and Indiana on the board as you come back in.
As we love glitches in this game. I get kicked out of the lobby. I'm not sure how the producer gets kicked out of the leader gets kicked out of the game, but okay, game. 1 minute in, it's 1-0 Indiana.
Yeah, it was just a quick transition for the Hoosiers. Ultimately, Akron pushed up a little bit too far upfield, and no one was left back to take away the immediate counter, and Pablo will put away the first on the season for Indiana, as we'll see if the Hoosiers can defend this now. And you gotta love all the tech difficulties on really opening night. It just seems right.
Well, that one is Rocket League. That wasn't any technical issue. That was just Rocket League doing its thing. But
that's still a tech issue.
And Indiana gets a second here, and with double commit on the defense, we'll find up a 2-0 lead for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, that's back-to-back double commits, as Patty just kind of bumped Oxy off that near post and left the shot open for MST. So he's got his first of the season, and that is back-to-back double commit punishes that Akron have given up to Indiana. Really have to sharpen that out. And do you think that's still a little bit of kind of that new team chem?
I mean, just sort of getting used to playing with Patty at this point, I'd imagine, early on in this semester. Patty's already got a reset. There's an opportunity for his first career goal, and it's turned away by MST. He'll be waiting a little bit longer for his first career CCS goal.
Yeah, unfortunately for Patty, went 0-4 in game number 1 as Pablo No Boost trying to find his way through with a bump off the ceiling. Is MST. Oxy, massive pre-jump storms right back to the other side. A little pogo as well with about a dime in the boost tank, as Jonathan trying to continue the offense steadily. It's going to be taken away once again by Pablo. Oxy, another big pre-jump, has to 50 here, as seeing the Hoosiers get a little more and more comfortable, especially after they put that first one away.
A couple defensive double commits, and Akron still hanging down by 2, almost down by 3 off the triple commit we saw in the offensive zone earlier, but 2:20 left to play here, so more than manageable here for Akron. It's Oxy's rear act is good for 1.
And that's a beauty of a take down the field from Patty. Pablo lost control. Patty gets it past the first 2, and Oxy just leaves Coda speechless on that look.
I mean, calling that you're talking about, Akron, Indiana's not doing anything crazy, but you look at the Akron offense, what they're capable of doing to you, and you're not even really out of position or doing anything that's going to get you scored on, but they just make big plays happen. And Oxy you know, again, a really good player, makes great plays, and he makes his offense, you know, so much better. And it's going to be an interesting season here with Patty obviously replacing Milio, but I think this is probably the most vulnerable we're going to see Akron for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be real intriguing to see how this kind of roster develops over more and more time. You expect them to really only get better, but we still are seeing a bit of that discomfort, a bit more of those double commits than we're used to seeing from them. Again, the offense developing here. Pablo trying to race this one around. Oxy does so just in time. A boost steal pass center, cut off well by Coda.
And Akron again still down by 1. Indiana has to keep Akron off the boards again as Coda wants a third. He'll find it. 125. The 1-2 punch is good for 3.
Yeah, snap 1-2 at that. Every Hoosier on the board here in game number 2. A great dime piece from Pablo, and Coda taking full advantage.
Yeah, I'd say if your offense can score 3, maybe 4 goals, like on Akron, you're safe. If you limit Akron to 1 or 2 goals per game, you more than likely should win. But again, we saw last game finish 1-0, so you know, again, you got to be able to find ways to score and keep Akron off the boards as long as you can. But their offense only averaging a goal a game here.
Yeah, not something we're too used to seeing, and it hasn't been that the haven't got any opportunities. They got 7 shots currently on target. We've just seen a good chunk of saves coming out of Indiana, and ultimately a lot of looks haven't been all too threatening from the Zips.
And we saw a couple double attempts from Patty and Oxy both go to nowhere, but again, still got a minute remaining here. But if he can get something quick, there's time on the clock for 1 more. But it's going to need to come here now for Akron, and then it won't be there as MSC picks up the save. Jonathan will trade out Coda. In the meantime, 30 seconds to go. Akron still trailing 2. There's almost a second. It's a little bit too hot.
That was a good snap pass down. Was a good idea coming out from the Zips, but ultimately haven't just been able to connect with any of these looks. And Jonathan had an open look there, just misread it off the backboard. And Indiana holding strong. No, that's all they need to do. You're seeing the aggression really come out of Akron here in these final seconds. A lot of bumps, and will they be able to turn one in? No, Coda again finds the clear. It falls to Pablo, who looks to carry out the rest of regulation. That he will. We're evened up at 1-1.
And if this is the kind of game you got to have if Indiana's going to pick off Akron here. And again, Akron's offense only averaging 1 goal a game. I'd say that's pretty good to have a good shot of winning this. But again, it's Akron goal at the end of the day, and this has to continue if you're Indiana.
Yeah, I just think the biggest statistic you have to look at is the 12 shots out of Akron with 1 goal. They put up 21 shots in the first 2 games and only have 2 goals to show for it. That is, of course, partly because Indiana very solid defensively, but it's also because, again, those looks haven't quite looked too put together from Akron. You can kind of see them more scrapping for goals, scrapping for those bumps, maybe just a favorable 50, and ultimately just haven't looked too clean.
I mean, a third of Akron's shots went unsaved. So again, it's not like they're not having A1 opportunities, because they are, but you know, it feels like the offense is a little bit disconnected after a couple of those open passing looks we saw open up in midfield, but they didn't put them away. And now in game 3, you got a chance to go back up 2-1 here and get control back.
Yeah, if there was any team I would expect to really just kind of iron things out after a tough game like that, it would be Akron. Just knowing their history, knowing their experience, you got to feel that they're going to be able to shake it off and kind of recenter as a unit. But Indiana want to take match point here, series point, and almost a great passing play there between Pablo and Coda as Akron will again break through the midfield. But Coda has been great so far controlling the pace as Pablo looks to snipe the bottom right corner. He does, and it's the Hoosiers on top early again.
17 seconds, and it's Pablo on the goal 1 here in game 3. Indiana looking for blood early here. Jonas, a 2-1 lead would be monumental at the start of the season here for Indiana, especially if they can finish this one off with a win.
Yeah, again, Akron being the unanimous #1 team. That, I mean, they've just been the go-to. Everyone expects this team to really be put on top. You know, they led the rankings last season. We'll see where they end up. Would expect them at #1 being the reigning champs, as they have just been ever so dominant. And if Indiana are going to be able to pick up a non-conference win over the Zips, that would be huge for their resume and, you know, potentially postseason seeding.
Absolutely. And, Cincinnati also will play Indiana later on this week. So again, another big time match coming up for Indiana, as well as Akron will open up with Charlotte tomorrow. So both these two teams, again, another top 15 matchup still to go.
Yeah, I'm again still just excited to see what Indiana brings together this season, and this is being a very strong start for them. A nice save there from MST, not deked out by the fake at all. Pablo dunked well by Oxy. He still had some great challenges to open up this series. Patty sidewall double, no good. Oxy trying to force his way through, and again, we're just kind of seeing this more, I don't know how to describe it, Nation, almost more of just a rough and tough, brutish form of Akron, really just trying to force Indiana out of the way more than anything, when we usually see this team doing a good mixture of outplaying their opponents and just getting around them clean.
And last season in the tournament, they really outpaced everybody except for Maryland in a round of 8. But, you know, again, this is an Indiana team that honestly on paper might have an opportunity to go to the national championship game based off what we're watching right now. MST and Pablo have been very, very good for a long time. If they get good production out of Dakota, this team is scary come April.
Yeah, they're looking incredibly balanced as of this point, having really a great rate of the play as MST just fires a bit high there. Akron are a team who can be very sneaky and very consistent with some of the looks they go for, and Indiana have been dealing really well, and again, we've seen that true really just on the defensive front.
I mean, I think this series, you know, alone, the last game, the offense was really, really solid. But this game, they are still keeping Akron off of the score sheets. It's still 2 goals allowed so far in this series, and Akron still have yet to score here in Game 3. And if Indiana can find a way to win this game, I mean, this would be huge going into Game 4.
And not to mention that shot pattern is still staying very similar. Good demo here out front from Oxy. Jonathan forced away towards the backboard. Patty there wants the double, no good. Pablo sweeps it away with no boost. Akron having 4 shots logged on target. Indiana just having the 1 from Pablo.
It's a testament to the midfield presence of Akron, keeping Indiana to a low shot count. But, you know, to what avail when your offense can't put up, you know, goals here? Is again just 1 goal a game so far tonight. Again, they're gonna look like maybe we see an overtime at 1-1. Shall Akron score here in the last 90?
I mean, it's just, we'll have to see. This is one of the most interesting looks we've seen from Akron, and ultimately that is but mostly due to Indiana making them uncomfortable. But Patty will get on the board for the first time in his CCS career. A bit of a double commit there, outpacing Coda, and no one left to stand in his way.
There's CCS career goal number 1 for Patty. A minute 24 to go. It's 1-1. And if Indiana's defense can hold on, we'll have overtime potentially, as Akron's offense would only be averaging a goal a game in regulation, which would be, I feel, a pretty good mark to what this Indiana team can do later on in the season.
Absolutely. Being able to hold down a team like this to just 1 goal per game is really staggering when you look at the kind of resume this Akron team has built over the past 3 or 4 seasons. It's been incredible as Patty forcing his way through Coda. Gets back in time for a nice stop. Jonathan looking to continue to look inside to Patty. He 50s his way through back to back for the newcomer.
There's goal 2, 52nd. And Akron reclaims the lead, but defensively, Jonas, for the struggles of the Akron offense, this looks eerily similar to the second rematch of Akron and Drexel from Season 5, where Drexel almost perfect swept Akron, only allowing 1 goal through those 15 minutes of play.
Yeah, that seems like one of those things that, looking back, Nation, it seems absolutely surreal that we saw that happen.
I mean, it feels like watching this game where Akron's offense only scoring 1 goal a game. They've struggled a majority of this series offensively. Their defense is really what's helping them out right now and keeping Indiana to low goal counts and low shot counts, which again helps the offense. But 30 seconds to go here, and Akron trying to reclaim control at the third at the Patty hat trick.
Yeah, and Patty has come alive here in game number 3, and ultimately Oxy with a great reset over 1. Pablo couldn't reach it, neither could MST on the goal line or Coda, and that is 3 now for Akron. They have taken complete control out of this one. And ultimately, I think the midfield presence has been another huge thing. You know, we've talked about Akron putting up so many shots and not being too efficient. Indiana in this game, they had the first one and have only had one more since then.
And that's a CCS hat trick for Patty. There's 4.
And yeah, why not? Why not add on a 4th? Ultimately, just a great 50. Coda creeping up way too close. Ultimately, this kind of time left. No, you just have to push up, hope for the best. If 50 doesn't go your way, it's turned into the other side.
Well, Patty puts up what we're going to call a pat trick here in game 3. Is 2-1 going into game 4. Now noticing, wow, just the way things have turned around for Akron after the last 10 minutes here. But, again, it's still... Indiana's looking very, very good, regardless of whatever happened here at the last minute 30.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing to take away is we did see Indiana look very strong in those first 3.5 minutes. Then, we started seeing them come in wake for Akron. Of course, Patty going 4 for 4. That's always going to be tough to stop, but you still got to see the potential that this Hoosiers team has to offer. The defense still stayed incredibly clean for a long time. But now the question is, can they lock back in, or is this the moment that Akron takes charge of the ship?
Very well could be. I mean, it's hard to really push Akron the distance, and we've only ever seen a handful of teams do that. And it's tough to get them that far, but if Indiana's going to do it, I think they've got the capabilities to do so. We saw it in game 2. Coda and MSC had themselves a game, but again, anything can happen at CCS at the end of the day, and Akron, they're going to be Akron and CCS. They're 4-time defending national champs. Who's going to stop them?
Well, we'll see if Indiana can do it and bring themselves back. Is already going to have a great opportunity here to start off game number 4. Pablo air dribbles it over top. Patty MST cleans up shop. And once again, it's Indiana on the board. This time just 9 seconds in.
9 seconds in. It's MST from Pablo on the 1-2 punch there. And Akron again giving up an early one.
Yeah, just got really beat on the kickoff, having a man with a free air dribble and then a second man chasing down the follow-up. It's always going to be tough to stop him. Maybe a swift transition here from Patty. Coda up and ready to yield. Good recovery, snaps it down. Pablo there for the Hoosiers, and again, starting to see the peppering of shots coming from Akron. Now a big double commit between Oxy and Patty as Indiana low boost can't quite transition cleanly enough. Pablo gonna have to force himself back on defense.
And what I've been kind of hearing is Jonathan's gonna play the third man role. It seems like on this roster, so it might just take Oxy and Patty a little bit to adjust to each other in the midfield outside of not having Emilio anymore alongside him in the front court. But still 4 minutes to go here. Akron up 2-1 in the best of 5, but Indiana 4 minutes away from a game 5.
Yeah, Jonathan's always been a guy who's kind of felt more like the rock of the trio, who can just really hold things down, has that great IQ, has that playmaking ability, but ultimately will clean up shop as third man when he needs to, or really just stay back on defense, has that good shooting potential. And we've already seen Oxy have a lot of aggressive challenges. We've seen many pre-jumps. We've seen him going up time and time again at the midfield, and alongside Patty, that might just be the go-to, but MST wants the spotlight for him in Indiana as just punches this one in from long distance.
That's just a long shot there from MSC. It's 2-0 now for Indiana. I really feel like Akron is gonna miss Emilio's ability to just take over and make crazy goals happen at any given time. I think they're really gonna miss that, but Patty's a heck of a player. I think he's gonna really fill in very well. But again, you've got to be able to prove yourself in these big time moments. It's a top 5 battle approaching game 5 here, 3:20 to go.
Yeah, Akron still have the chance to shut it down and make this a 3-1 victory, but cannot expect Indiana to go down without a fight. It's just really never been their way at any stage in CCS. But Oxy, a nice beat. Patty down low, waiting, tried to bump out Pablo, more than ready to deal. Now has a free look upstairs. Jonathan shuts it down back the other way.
Indiana's had a couple of very solid runs at the CCS championships. Obviously, that Final Four from Season 3, I believe it was, or yeah, Season 3 when they did lose to Drexel. And that Final Four, I believe it's a pretty close game as well with the runner-ups from Season 3. But Nonetheless, this is a very strong Akron team, and Indiana, again, I think this team has what it takes to win a national championship alongside Maryland. I think they're probably the 3 teams to watch this season.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be big up-and-comers, but we will see the lead cut in half here as Coda just got beat. MST was already in the corner. It was a dangerous challenge, and who else but Akron to punish?
I think maybe you could throw in Florida or Virginia Tech, possibly.
Florida has always been scary. So have the Hokies. I mean, we've talked about it. The depth in CCS is just always outstanding.
Absolutely, and Akron's offense just can put up goals very, very quickly, and we'll see that happen here. But I think when you look in terms of winning a national championship, it's going to probably more than likely require stopping Akron, barring a stunning upset early on in the bracket. But I think Maryland's defense and the offensive capabilities of Hexy and Turtle have the opportunity to get the job done. And I'm not quite sure there's anyone else in CCS that can hang with Akron here. Maybe Indiana. I mean, they're proving it here tonight, but I think outside of those two, I'm not too sure anyone else's offense can hang with this Akron defense.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see. And again, that quick scoring capability. We've seen the bumps come in, but that's another big double commit. Can Jonathan get back? No, misses. MST gets himself a hattie. Lead back in the hands of the Hoosiers.
And MST, again, he's having himself a game thrown. It's a hat trick for MST here in Game 4. Still just south of 2 minutes to go. Akron trailing 1.
And it's just been that similar thing where Akron, we've seen their defense, it's always been pretty calm, but when they're making these kinds of double commits, we've seen them get punished very consistently by Indiana. And credit to the Hoosiers for being able to notice those openings and really take advantage. And Akron need to get that offense going again. A nice pass over to Patty from Jonathan, saved away by Pablo. Oxy way up, gets it to go off the ceiling. Maybe a second touch, no good. Jonathan tries to force it over MSC. Now Patty fires. Pablo there again.
Oxy retakes possession here, looks for the bump, finds an opportunity for Patty. It's good for 1 for all.
And it looks like there was just a miss here. Thought this one was going to be cleared away, as it was a good stop from Oxy shutting down MST, but Coda maybe flipped the wrong way.
He got there.
Might have been able to reach it in time.
Coda definitely got there in time. I don't think the timing was the issue. I think he flipped the wrong way, like you said. I think, he got the ball in time, but he didn't read the play right. And, you're going to get punished for that with Akron, but, it's 3-all, so plenty of clock to go, but that's one you're going to want back if you're Indiana.
Yeah, now especially you give Akron that little bit of momentum. You just kind of just hand that rope over, give them a little bit of slack. And the Zips love to really take full advantage. They're a team who can really go on runs, but now maybe a look inside from MST. Patty, massive 50 back the other way, and we'll have the clean transition over the offense.
This just feels like one of those Elite 8 Final 4 type of battles where it's no one's going to go down without a fight. And we're seeing that come to full fruition here as Indiana's had one heck of a night. And Akron have really put it to the metal, and Indiana's feeling it at full pace. They're doing a heck of a job defending this Akron offense.
Yeah, they're doing what they can to stand up to it. Again, Akron currently have 13 shots. Again, that shot count has not faltered, still finding themselves a lot of chances. 7 have been saved away by Indiana. Now they have an open net. No, MST booms it away, and that was a free lead not taken by the Hoosiers.
There's only 20 seconds on the clock, too, and Oxy almost an opportunity to put it away. Patty brought down. It's no good. It's saved. Pablo keeps it alive.
Pablo has been the savior in this matchup on defense. 4 saves leading both sides to keep that one out. Overtime looming. The Zips don't want it to get there, but it will fall out in front. Game 4 OT. Indiana need 1 to keep the series alive.
My goodness, what a save there for Patty to keep Game 4 alive in extra time. Again, Indiana's defense has been under siege for the last 20 minutes here, and now an opportunity to send us to Game 5.
Jonathan looking to do just the opposite of that. Wants it to stay to a nice 4-game series and get Akron another big win. But Pablo has looked. You can see another pre-jump from Oxy. Pablo just gets it over him. Jonathan, a good touch off the backboard. MST fires. Jan there. Coda diving his way through the corner. Oxy again ready to deal. And now a pinch goes right off target. Can Coda turn in time? No boost. Fires. It's good. We're going to Game 5.
Game 5 coming up for Akron is The defending 4-time champions open up their season with yet another scare here in week 1.
And Coda just slipped it past, missed the corner boost on the turnaround, didn't matter, was still in position to fire a shot past the final zips. And again, MST tallies himself the hat. He did have a couple mistakes late. We won't talk about it. Pablo, of course, being the ultimate support role in this one. 3 assists, 4 saves, leading the team in both categories. And then Coda putting away the game winner.
Well, what better way to open up the season with a Game 5 in the top 5 battle? Number 1, Akron. Number 5, Indiana. For just now tuning in, going into Game 5. After what has been a very defensive battle here, I'd say is the offenses have both struggled on both sides here tonight.
Yeah, we've seen some real great offense and some real great defense, and they kind of seem to come in waves, as sometimes it's all offense, sometimes it's all defense, neither of which really take control for too long, as it's kind of back and forth. As it looks like Oxy is absolutely harassing Pablo across the field. Will force him all the way back. Patty fires Pablo back in and recovers immediately. Oxy there to challenge him again.
I would too. Oxy's a menace. A little bit of a bump demon as we've seen in the past tournaments, but again, this Akron offense just tries to do whatever they can to make the defense as uncomfortable as possible. Now Pablo and Oxy in a one-on-one. It's met by Patty though. 40 seconds in, still no goals early on.
Good recovery on the wall from Oxy. Tried to toss it over to Jonathan. MST, another good stop coming across the middle. Oxy looking to turn. MST shuts him down and away. Quick transition from the Hoosiers. Demo comes out, traded between Jonathan and Pablo. Now Oxy takes out another Hoosier. Patty up 50 by MST. Again, you can see Indiana just holding tight to these corners, not trying to give any free reins to Akron, but they're finding their way through. Patty off the crossbar. Oxy there. He bangs the crossbar as well. Jonathan wants to look. He puts it away. And Oxy gonna wipe the sweat off his brow.
And Oxy nearly bricked the first opportunity, Jonas. 118 finds the first from Jonathan.
And that's one where you just kind of go back to comms. You say, hey, thanks, man. I thank you for that, because those are ones that you can kind of look back, and sometimes they can mean the series. As you know, we've seen some close games between these two teams. You never know what could have happened if that goal didn't find its way in.
Still anyone's game indeed. 90 seconds into regulation. 1-0 to score, favoring the Zips of Akron. As Jonathan trying to connect with Oxy, it's broken up by a defender. 2 minutes down here in Game 5, and again, it's been quite the night so far. Only one series in, and it's already been a ton of fun here to be back.
Yeah, we anticipated a good fight in the top 5 matchup, and boy, has it delivered. Again, Akron currently sitting at 7 shots in this game right now. Indiana only having 1. And need to turn that around as get closer and closer to the halfway mark. Jonathan looking for a little mind game, shut down well by the Hoosiers. Now maybe look, Patty taking control, looking for more off the reset. Again, Oxy just leaning forward for more bumps, more demos. Now retreats all the way back to the corner.
Precious seconds going to tick off this clock here. That's going to help Akron out a lot. It's a demo in the backfield from Oxy, one-on-one. Pablo does find the clear just in time as Patty breaks it forward, back into red territory. As the Indiana offense again, got a half a game to go. They got to make something happen.
They might on transition. Oxy waiting patiently back, and MST doesn't want him doing any of that anymore, as Pablo good beat into the bar. MST can't get there in time. Coda as third pushes up, low boost here. That has been a very common theme this entire series for Indiana, as Akron have been all over the boost counter. Now another pump from Oxy leaves it wide open for Jonathan, and Akron have control.
Akron take control of a number situation. 1:58 to go. Akron up by 2. Now the cushion into effect here for Akron entering the last 2 minutes.
It was actually a bump by Jonathan. I thought Oxy got a piece of that play. It turns out he was just kind of sitting upfield waiting to make an impact, and instead it was just Jonathan who was able to take the bump and the shot. Now tries to dish it over to Patty. Good 50 from MST, but Oxy there to slice through the midfield, but off the crossbar and post as Oxy just can seemingly not quite find his way to the back of the net here in Game 5.
So Oxy's having a couple of nightmares now. An opportunity for Pablo. One-on-one is no good. Rebound. It's Coda turned away by Oxy. 1:27 to go. An Akron escape.
As Patty with a good chip around, net wide open, and Patty tallies number 3, and Indiana just look like they cannot get any control. MST drove way far up, tried to dive in for that one, and immediately swiped away by the Zips.
And that one feels like the dagger. 1:21 to go, 3-0. And Indiana overcome adversity down by 3 with 80 seconds left.
It's going to take a lot as that 50 from Oxy not too favorable, but Jan and Patty ready to deal. MST a good touch here. Jonathan right down to Oxy, and he'll have himself the steady clear over 1. MST up in the air to meet him. Oxy flip reset carry to the bottom right side, off target, but into the final minute of regulation we go, and it just looks like Akron playing keep away, and Jonathan wants a hat trick himself in this series.
54 seconds. That's a second hat trick from an Akron player this series. Is again, Patty had one earlier on. I believe it was game 3. As 54 seconds remain, 4-0. I think that one, if goal 3 wasn't the dagger, that one sure was.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is just gotten to the point where Indiana can't seem to really get any sort of control on this game. You can see the way Akron are approaching every play. They feel more than confident as just playing touches around every single Indiana player. Pablo looking to take a look, but immediately swiped away by the defense once again, and it is just Akron all over the Hoosiers, not giving them any space. Jonathan immediately transitions back to offense, and Oxy high pre-jumped over the middle. Oxy's just been having a lot of fun in this game.
He's probably laughing, having a grand old time right now. Just with the boys, laughing, and they're going to pick up a W here to open up the season with a win over number 5 Indiana, who again, don't discredit this roster. This is a heck of a performance no matter the loss. They still look very, very, very scary, and I think they're going to be a threat to be reckoned with in the Big Ten income tournament time.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key takeaway for either side is the potential they have to offer. Of course, Akron, you know they're going to be scary coming in. They proved that once again, even with some tough games. They bounced right back, a 4-0 shutout in game number 5 to claim the series victory. And also got to give your flowers to the Hoosiers as they had some really strong performances, and Oxy dropping a cowabunga in the chat for the W, and
that feels like a classic Oxy.
Yeah, that works.
Absolutely. We'll love to see it here from Akron. 3-2, your final score from Champions Field there. Akron win it in Game 5. What a thriller to open up the season. As we're going to go to break, though, when we come back, it's number 8 Syracuse and number 21 A&M, who is currently taking on Central Florida. But until then, we'll see you guys here soon.